Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gannon, alongside my partner, Jack Nicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. Another chance, go check out our website, justsayingfootball.com. Follow us on Instagram at Just Saying, no GWJS for article and video updates. And don't forget to get us in your ears on Spotify at Just Saying Football. Draft season continues. Mock draft season continues for us here at Just Saying. It is Jack's 3.0 mock draft. The floor is all his from here on out. Let's see how your draft goes, my man.
Let's do it. Yeah, 3.0. We're getting 1 week away from the draft right now, so things are getting a little tight. We're going to try to take you through this one. Possibility of trades in this one, the teams dictate it, but let's get into it. Starting off, obvious pick right here, Caleb Williams. Once you're about a week away from the draft, I feel like every year we know who's going to be number one. Makes it easy on us for these mock drafts. Number two, I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels. The Washington Commanders, they hosted every quarterback, but I will say Daniels, after coming off the Heisman, you got to give him the edge here. And New England, defensive coach, we talked about a couple times. They could go Marvin Harrison like I have had them. I'm going to stick with my last pick, keep the top three the same, do J.J. McCarthy there. I think that he really, he has a lot of development. He'll be great with the run game there, and that's a lot what they're looking to do in New England. Arizona here, I think you go best player available mentality. You take Marvin Harrison, you add a weapon for Kyler Murray for the long term. And I mean, wow, what a guy. You never can go bad with an Ohio State wide receiver. The Los Angeles Chargers, they have a free range here, but they have no weapons for their quarterback, Justin Herbert. Give me Malik Neighbors. I've had them getting Joe Alt. I've had them getting Brock Bowers, but now I give them a number one receiver for Justin Herbert. You gotta love that. He's a big reason why Jaden won that Heisman. The Giants, a lot of people want them to go quarterback. A lot of people think they could, go O-line, but I think they did a good job supplying a lot of offensive line this year. Give me Rome Odunze from Washington. We saw what he was able to do in the undefeated season last year. Give me that. Give me a new receiver for the Giants, a number one guy that you can invest a lot into. Tennessee, you have your quarterback from last year. You signed a lot of offensive players. I am going to actually jump here and give them Dallas Turner, which I have not before. I also have the opportunity to trade back, but, go get the best defensive player. We've been talking about how Atlanta seems like the slide in for Dallas this year. I think Tennessee ups the ante by going to get him right there.
I like that.
Atlanta, there's a lot to do, but they just missed out on an edge rusher, and we see there isn't too many edge rushers in this draft that you can really trust, that you can really go with this early. So I think Atlanta could actually trade back here for a team that is looking for it. Now, I do see, Minnesota at 11, they could use a quarterback, but I will say there is one quarterback here, Drake May, and a lot of people are saying that he could go in a lot of places. But I will actually do a trade here between the Denver Broncos and the Atlanta Falcons, and I will have the Atlanta Falcons, swap the first-round pick. Denver is also going to give up their third-round pick and one of these fifth-round picks for the fourth-round pick from Atlanta. And they are going to go up, and Denver is going to get Drake May early so that the Vikings can't. And it puts Chicago in an opportunity here, I think, to slide in, get a great tackle for their number one guy. You could get Brock Bowers here as well, but you have Cole Kmet. You need the offensive line secure for your new quarterback. Give me Joe Alt for the Chicago Bears. I think he falls here. We don't know where he falls, but this is a perfect place, I think, for him right there. What do you think? Yeah, you like that one?
I think that's perfect, honestly. I like that a lot for Chicago, and I hate it as a Vikings fan, but I think that that's perfect for them and what they're going to need going forward. They just let go of Cody Whitehair, who was like a solid guard / center for them for some years now.
For sure. And now I think it starts a little run here of the offensive line. The Jets, I think, can take Talise Fuaga here from Oregon State, secure help for Aaron Rodgers. He's going to need all the protection he can coming off that Achilles. And I see you smiling. It is the 11th pick, the most awaited pick in Sean's arsenal right now.
The best pick in the draft.
And I will say, we've done a few things here. We've gone quarterback. We've gone defense. You don't need the offensive line. You could go up here. You could get Byron Murphy there. You lost a lot of D linemen this year. And I will say, when you're going through this, you need somebody in this division to make, waves after losing Kirk Cousins. And I'm going to say they take a quarterback right here and go grab Michael
Yeah.
Penix while they can. There are so many options for them here. I could also see
Let's
them kind of
go.
trading back, getting more capital. But they jump up here to go get one of the higher ceiling quarterbacks in the whole draft. Atlanta, you're looking here. You just traded back. You just got some capital. You could go with the best player available. You already, unfortunately, spent a top 10 pick last year or a couple years ago on Kyle Pitts. So the tight end isn't really a need. You got Brock Bowers just sitting right here. Give me Terrion Arnold. Give me a guy who can go across from the from the outside in Atlanta, a cornerback two against AJ Terrell. And Las Vegas comes up here. I had them getting Quinyon Mitchell and I had them getting Terrion Arnold, but at the end of the day, they don't really have a lot. They don't have a lot of offensive line, and I'm going to give them Fashanu from Penn State, who just kind of looks like a Raider when you play him. Brock is falling down. This is becoming a part of the draft that is a reality here, where if nobody in the top 10 gets Brock Bowers, he could fall. Now, New Orleans, nobody knows how to use a tight end like the New Orleans Saints, and nobody can utilize one like them. I have always said that these guys are the wild card. They can do whatever they want. Give me Brock Bowers in New Orleans. Get Derek Carr, his security blanket. Get a guy down there with coaches who know how to use an X factor kind of weapon. And this is as low, I think, as Brock goes. Now, this one's easy for me. You see the suggestion. I want to take it. But again, I still have this dream of Brian Thomas going right to the Colts. On the opposite, Michael Pittman with Josh Downs in the slot. You give Anthony Richardson absolute power with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. This is how you load the Colts offense up to match Houston, Jacksonville, and Tennessee right now. I think that they got to make a splash offensively. Seattle, they got Devin Witherspoon last year, so they could do something big and go get Kenyon Mitchell. But I got to say, when I look at this team, I think about how Geno is 33 years old. I think about how they have 5 different amazing wide receivers, and they don't have a great O-line. So I'm going to keep my boy Troy Fatanu up in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm going to get him to Seattle right there. Get a little extra protection for Kenny Walker as well in the backfield.
That's beautiful. That's a good one.
That one.
And he stays around in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, you got to keep him local. And speaking about that, keeping him local, you mentioned it on you see it already because you mentioned that there's no team that loves drafting guys who went to Florida universities as much as the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's why your boy Jared Verse is going. He is staying in the state of Florida, giving them that Saxonville edge again. I think that is something that they desperately need. I think this also right here, Cincinnati has a lot of issues, when it comes to the interior, and they got their tackles done. Give me J.C. Latham, I was looking before, to the Cincinnati Bengals. They could never, if they're going to have Joe Burrow for the next decade, they're going to have to go time after time, just continuously building the O-line. This is how they do that. A little Alabama guy who can play a little bit of everywhere. The LA Rams, I still believe the match made in heaven for them is Zerhan Newton. I would love to continue that trend. I think he fits exactly a little bit more than Byron Murphy into what they would want to do, replacing Aaron Donald. So I'm going to stick with Newton there. I think that's a dream pick for them. Pittsburgh, though. Pittsburgh is always crazy. They're always going with edge rushers. They have so many on the team. But at the end of the day, you said it a little before, there are some guys you just see in a uniform. Cooper DeJean, for me, is going to the Steelers. He's staying in the black and gold, and we're going to stick with that. He reminds me of the Tomlin kind of guy, just a head-on man coverage corner. He can play safety. That's going to be huge for the Pittsburgh defense on a couple levels, so we love that for them. Now, Miami, a lot of people aren't talking about the fact that they lost Jalen Phillips last year, who's one of their star pass rushers. And I think that they just replaced him right here with Latu. I think that the key is, you need somebody on the defense. They have one of the best offenses, but they have a middle of the pack defense in a division where it's expected to have some good weapons. So you just give them the best pass rusher on the market. Now you'll see this trend here as I go through it. There's going to be a lot of guys just getting the best player available or just going for fit. There
You
ain't nothing
gotta.
easy about it. Philadelphia, you got Kenyon Mitchell right here at 22, a top 10 potential pick. You're going right there.
Boom.
Minnesota, I wanted to get you Byron Murphy before. Doesn't matter. I'm going to get you Byron Murphy now. And that
Beautiful.
is because you get both sides of the ball fixed. I think that's what Minnesota's trying to do with the first 2 round picks. Now, you got Tyron Smith gone. We've been saying that's the biggest hole. Dallas, they said they're all in. They didn't do a single thing. So, what they got to do, draft the best offensive lineman when you get to this pick at 24. You're going to go with Amarius Mims, and you're going to help
Like
your
that.
guy Dak Prescott stay up on his very expensive behind. Now, Green Bay, you have a great offense. You just lost some offensive line. You don't have Bakhtiari anymore. Give me Graham Barton for them, a guy who can
Solid.
play right interior. I think this is really where the interior alignment, I think, can go back to back with your guy, Jackson Powers Johnson, going at 26 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I
I think
like
that
that.
both of these teams, they got young running backs. You got Rakai White back there. You need somebody to protect the inside, especially with Baker signing that deal. You've lost Ryan Jensen through fringe. It's time to get youth in there, and you get one of the best interior guards right there. Arizona, I said it's good to go offense and defense if you have 2 first-round picks. This is the last team with 2 first-round picks. You've gone offense. Now, I think you go get Kool-Aid McKeestry, who's right there.
Very
That fits their
nice.
defense a little better than Nate Wiggins, who's more of a zone guy, and you take him right there. Now you got an Alabama corner and an Ohio State wide receiver. The Cardinals came out of this draft looking pretty good. Now, we saw the departure of Stephon Diggs, and that is going to be tough. Xavier Worthy's here. We got Lad McConkey. We have a lot of issues. I'm going to make it easy. Get Adonai Mitchell. He's the most like Stephon, possession receiver, less speed than Xavier Worthy. Perfect fit in Buffalo, in my opinion.
Love
Now,
that.
what about Detroit? We saw them lose Jeff Okuda the last couple of years after drafting him number 3. They have not had any success with their secondary in the last few years. Give me Nate Wiggins here for them. He can do a
Beautiful.
little bit of everything. I got to say, 30 picks in. I'm feeling good about where these guys are going to end up as well. Now, Tyler Guyton is the best offensive lineman when you get to this point by far. Jordan Morgan is kind of a fringe first-round pick. Tyler Guyton is a large Oklahoma guy. I had him originally going to San Francisco, but now I'm going to have him go one more pick up to Baltimore and help, just get Lamar Jackson and now Derrick Henry a little more help.
Love that.
So San Francisco, a lot of talk about Ayuk going. You could go wide receiver. You have a stacked offense. I would love to see them go cornerback here in Enos Rakestraw. I think that when you have DK Metcalf and Jackson and Tyler on one team, you have Cooper Kupp and Puka. You're going to need all the help that you can get when you're facing off in your division. Now you got Marvin Harrison in this scenario. Give me Enos Rakestraw, and that would be about the 6th corner to go in the first round. It's going to be a big year for them for sure. Rounding out. What did you have to say? Sorry.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a big year for the cornerbacks. I think there's like a lot of talent, but also like you don't know where they're gonna go. Are you gonna have the offensive line go early, like this one?
Yeah. Yeah, they
Later.
could flip. Yeah. And Casey, I think they could either kind of go O-line or they could do it. With the Rashee Rice news, though, it doesn't look like he's going to be there day one, or at least for the first couple of weeks. He's really the only consistent wide receiver you have on your team. So give me Xavier Worthy. We're going to go. Give me the Tyreek Hill effect with Mahomes again. Give me a guy who can take the top off. Now, we're done here. 3-0, and I feel good about it. 3.0. I'm like sitting here. Any picks that are your favorites that surprised you?
The Brock Bowers was surprising. I do think that one,
Going all the way to 14.
I like him going early in this draft, but
Same.
if he was to fall, it makes sense that he would kind of slip in this area because there's more of a need for. I mean, there's always potential that the Jets surprise, maybe snag him early on
Yeah,
at that 10 spot if there is a slight fall. You have him going offensive line, which also doesn't surprise me at all. But maybe they're like, hey, we can utilize both. They're going to need to get a pass catcher, I think, in there at some point again for Aaron Rodgers. I will also say I think that the Ravens, I love them getting Tyler Guy, and I think it is offensive line as well. But something to keep in mind for the draft for everybody listening and watching this. There's potential for them to also go wide receiver, I think, even like a McConkey kind of guy or an
hmm
Adonai Mitchell if he's sitting there. And the only reason why is I think that they do need offensive line help, but they're going to be so run reliant heavy.
yeah,
They need some depth. I don't know. I was a big Rashad Bateman coming out of college. Love anybody coming out of Minnesota. Uh, and it just hasn't been the experiment that they wanted. So there's potential for them to get that because you also got to think to the future.
I agree.
So I do want to put that out there. But other than that, I think this is a solid draft. I like the Colts getting Brian Thomas Jr. I thought that was really solid for them.
Yeah, I'm
T-
loving I'm loving where some of these you can just see some of these guys in the uniform at this point, but that's all
yeah,
the beauty of it.
and potential I think always for the Raiders to get a quarterback. Maybe there's I know they have Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and I do
Yeah.
like them going for Fashanu out of Penn State. But there's always a potential I think with them this year. Uh,
Would it have shocked you if I had put Bo Nix at 13? Rounding out 13
A little bit,
picks with five quarterbacks.
only just because I think everybody feels like he's gonna go day two. Like he
Yeah,
feels
I
like the
agree.
Will Levis of this year's draft kind of vibe. Like
Yeah.
but yeah, I think there's gonna be some weird trades in this one. I will say we both had a trade. We only did one trade, I think, for a reason.
But we know there's always going to be more.
Hopefully, it's not the Vikings. I'm really, really hoping about that. But I like this
Yeah.
draft. I am
Thank you, friend.
so excited for this year's draft. I
Me
cannot speak
too.
about it enough. But that's all the time that we have. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Draft soon.
Yeah, I can't believe 8 more days till the draft. Enjoy it. Let us know in the comments who you want your team to draft. Thank you guys always for checking us out. Just Saying Football on YouTube, Spotify. Make sure to get us in your ears. Make sure to subscribe on both. Thank you guys for checking us out. Keep updated with all of our posts on Instagram. Just Saying with no G, WJS. Thank you guys for watching.
Enjoy.